It's time for today's worst day on the web. With Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Well, that sucks.
All right, today our worst day on the web belongs to two men. Jimmy Kimmel and Aaron Rodgers.
Are we sure Jimothy is his full name?
Yeah.
Are we sure it's not James?
No, it's Jim. I think Jimothy.
Jim?
Yeah.
James?
Yeah.
Jimothy?
The back and forth between Jimmy Kimmel and Aaron Rodgers continued. Kimmel had been cracking jokes all through COVID about Aaron Rodgers and his thoughts on COVID and conspiracy theories as a whole because he's a comedian with a late night show. Like, that's what they do. They make fun of celebrities who say stupid stuff. And Jimmy Kimmel is a man of the people and a sports fan as well.
Yeah.
Who, like, his audience kind of skews towards sports watching folks. So Aaron Rodgers became an easy target for him. Well, Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show where he gets paid handsomely to go on there.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a paid appearance.
$1 million bucks.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Could be Aaron.
So he goes on McAfee show and he spouts off about, because Rodgers at one point was talking about UFOs on the McAfee show, and some like went straight from the UFO document release into the Epstein list is going to be coming out soon. And Kimmel cracked a joke at Rodgers like, what tinfoil kind of hat guy is this? So we fast forward and Rodgers goes and he makes his Kimmel joke about, the Epstein list is coming out and Jimmy Kimmel doesn't want to see that one released. Some took it as insinuating Jimmy Kimmel was on the list.
I see both sides of it.
I was more on the line. I was on the side of, I think he was saying he doesn't want the list to come out because he would be proved wrong that the list didn't exist, right?
Right. But I also think that, like, if I'm Jimmy Kimmel, it's not that far of a leap for him to go, well, if Aaron Rodgers says this, a crazy person will then think I'm on the list because there will be fake lists that go all over Twitter.
100%.
And then he seems to be kind of out in the public eye. Like he's walking around with his family. He's had his family on camera and on his show before. I don't feel like it's a big leap for him to be worried about some random Joe Schmo on the street recognizing his family, his kids, his wife, or something like that, and then accosting them.
Well, and that's what he started his monologue yesterday, was the first show that Kimmel was back on. And he came out of the gate of his monologue saying just that, like, hey, me and Rodgers have been going back and forth, and like, I don't know Epstein. I wasn't on the list. Nobody I know is on the list. I've never met the guy. I wasn't on those logs, but just what you said, that people have been coming out of the woodwork accusing him of it because of what Rodgers said. And I get that, and I'd be pissed too if I'm Kimmel.
Right.
So he went in even further after he kind of did the whole explanation thing, and he went in on Aaron Rodgers.
But here's the thing. I spent years doing sports. I've seen guys like him before. Aaron Rodgers has a very high opinion of himself because he had success on the football field. He believes himself to be an extraordinary being. He genuinely thinks that because God gave him the ability to throw a ball, he's smarter than everyone else. The idea that his brain is just average is unfathomable to him. We learned during COVID, somehow he knows more about science than scientists. A guy who went to community college, then got into Cal on a football scholarship and didn't graduate, someone who never spent a minute studying the human body, is an expert in the field of immunology. He just put on a magic helmet, and that G made him a genius. Aaron got 2 A's on his report card. They were both in the word Aaron.
Okay, taking his shots.
There were some of those comments there that hit a little close to home. I'm not going to lie.
And you and I both know people that are like that because they are good at football and maybe a football savant or a basketball savant or, baseball savant.
Or they just hate the doctor.
But no, they think that I am extremely smart in this one field. There's no way that I could not be as smart in every field.
Right.
As this one, right?
Right.
We've all come across those people. And Rodgers has a lot of that to him, right? He has a lot of that arrogance going on.
He loves himself some Aaron Rodgers.
Right. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers is as dumb as old Jimmy Kimmel, who went to Arizona State, is accusing him of being. But I do understand where he's coming from. I'm like, God, this guy's going to take cracks at me. I'm going to take cracks right back. So Jimmy Kimmel sticks up for himself. Well, guess what happens on Tuesdays? Aaron Rodgers goes on the Pat McAfee show. And here comes Rodgers. The petty war is continuing.
In the end, to sum this up, listen, I still haven't popped a bottle because there hasn't been any list that's come out. And I'm glad that Jimmy is not on the list. I really am. And I don't think he's the P word.
The P word? Pedophile?
And
I thought Panther fan.
You know, I think it's impressive that a man who went to Arizona State and has 10 joke writers can read off a prompter. So, you know, my education at JUCO and my 3 semesters at Cal that I'm very proud of has worked out for me, and I'm glad to see it's worked out for him as well. So I wish him the best. Again, I don't give a shit what he says about me.
I love that. I love that he goes, guy who went to Arizona State and has 10 joke writers. That's actually a decent comeback.
That's a good line.
I love how he wraps it up too with I don't give an S about what he says about me at the end of his 7-minute rant about what Jimmy Kimmel said about him.
Yeah, that was 47 seconds of a 7-minute uninterrupted rant.
Yes.
Well, you know what? He doesn't have 10 joke writers. He only has himself, and he has to figure it out. And look, if Jimmy's right, he only had 2 A's on his report card, and they were in his name. It takes him a while.
Cal is a good school. Cal's a good school. It's a great school.
He had
phenomenal school. One of the best public institutions in the land.
He had to have been decently intelligent to get into Cal. Cal's not just letting everyone in because of their football. Marshawn.
Well,
Marshawn's actually pretty smart.
That was something that Jeff Tedford got. You know, he got a lot of guys in that probably shouldn't be in Cal because of how hard it is. One of the hardest schools to get into.
It's a smart person school.
Yeah, it is.
Harvard of the West
love
Coast.
I love it. I can't wait for the next shots to be fired in this. But hold on. Now, Rodgers started that saying, I'm not popping champagne bottles because the list hasn't been revealed yet.
Yeah.
Not the full list. Right? Is that what he's talking about?
Yes.
But then
the list is out, right?
He goes, no, not the full list.
But most.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a big chunk that it is not. But Rodgers is sitting there going, I'm not popping bottles because the list isn't out yet. But I'm glad Kimmel isn't on the list. So does he know what the list is? Is the list not out, but Aaron Rodgers has it?
It's him and David Bakhtiari after they've each been drinking a couple Coors Lights, and they're like, what should be here? What should be there? Who do we think is the P word?
This is why we shouldn't. Yeah, the P word.
What is the P word?
Pedophile. That is the word that everybody was looking for.
I thought it was prankster.
No, it isn't. It isn't. All right, so worst day on the web goes to those 2 men because, this is dumb. It is petty. The petty wars are there.
I'm just glad that they're keeping Pac-12 rivalries alive. I was worried with the dissolution of the conference that we would not have our Pac-12 rivalries. And it's good to see Arizona State go after Cal and Cal go after Arizona State.
Is this the most vicious rivalry that Cal and Arizona State have?
Yeah.
Because they haven't been good at anything and at the same time, like, ever?
Maybe sororities? Like, is there a sorority war between Arizona State?
I don't think so.
Arizona State's got some pretty good sororities.
This may be the best rivalry that we have going between the Sun Devils and the Golden Bears.
Aaron Rodgers versus Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were both kind of good at basketball at one point.
At one point.
But
not at the same time.
Were they? They were okay. Like James Harden, Arizona State. Before the beard?
I don't think Cal was good that year.
Yeah, all right.
Mark Madsen still at Cal?
Boy, Cal's basketball coach, go.
Jeff Tedford. I just assume that he's always...
it is Mark Madsen.
It is still? Okay.
Still, he was named it this year.
Oh, was it just this year? Okay. Well, so it still does apply.
So they brought him back?
Still does apply. 2023 to present.
Yeah. All right.
So he was there. He was there, he left, and he came back. I like on the ticker, they have, please don't sue us constantly running as Aaron Rodgers is up talking.
Yeah, that's a good one to have.
Yeah.
Because again, apparently during that, he went after ESPN executives again.
He went after Norby or whatever the dude's name was.
No, McAfee did on Friday.
Yeah.
And then I guess like the big head of ESPN went out and was at the Colts game on Saturday with McAfee to kind of smooth the waters over. And then today, Rodgers went on and went after somebody else.
Well, again, ESPN has to smooth the waters over. They fired a bunch of people and invested a lot of money in McAfee reviving their midday lineup. You kind of have to appease Pat.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a star, dude.
All right.